So, the company we have chosen is Uber Technology. Commonly known as Uber, it is an American multinational cab services company offering various services like ride sharing, food delivery, and short rides from bikes and scooters as well. After its creation in 2009 in San Francisco, Uber has spread like wildfire all over the globe. It was founded by Garrett Camp and Travis Kalanick, along with Oscar Salazar and Conrad Whelan, who assisted in building the first version of their black car services, Uber Cab. Although Uber charged 1.5 times the normal cab services, it became very popular in the States because of its easy accessibility.
Malik. Now I'm going to talk about internationalization history of Uber. As per Business Insider report, Uber began to expand internationally in December 2011, starting with Paris. Uber officially launched in Singapore, the first Asian city, on 24th of February 2013. Uber started in India and Africa in August 2013. In 2014, Uber started in China and New Zealand. Uber entered Middle East in 2013, and first city of launch was Dubai. Dubai was the 44th city to launch globally as per the Forbes report. When Uber entered to the international market, it was very hard for Uber to survive because a lot of furious protests happened around the globe.
Hello, I'm Hank. Now I will talk about the political and the legal influence on Uber in Germany, as well as globally. Firstly, the reason why I chose Germany, according to 2019 Index of Economic Freedom, Germany remains the European most economically and politically influential member nation nowadays. Many political factors affect the service of Uber globally. The level of corruption in a particular country defines whether Uber would want to invest more in the country or not, and that's the same case with political stability of a particular country in previous years. Also, the taxation system will be a factor. High taxes means that Uber won't be able to maximize their profits in those countries. Data security is also one of the major factors. If one of the countries doesn't have any policies for IP protection, then it would become difficult for Uber to invest in those countries because of the risk of data being breached. In terms of the political influence in Germany, German government views Uber as the same industry of regular taxi companies. This is because the European Court of Justice ruled that Uber was a transport company instead of an information service in 2017. Therefore, Uber has to comply with the local transport regulation in Germany to run their business. For the legal perspective in Germany, Uber faces two main obstacles. According to German Way 2018, there are strict regulations and licensing requirements as well as taxes in Germany. For example, PPG is this law regulating the commercial transport of passengers requires anyone conveying paying passengers to have a chauffeur's license.
I chose China as a country. Uber held an official conference in Shanghai and announced its official entry into the Chinese mainland market in July of 2014. The first reason I chose China is that China has a vast market to attract investment. And second, the foreign trade growth of China ranks among the highest in the world. And at the same time, China's internet industry developed very rapidly, which is good for Uber's development. So China is a representative case in every way. As for political and legal aspect, Uber does face significant policy risk in China. The regulatory requirements in this regard are becoming stricter. The Ministry of Transport of China issued a notice expressly prohibiting private cars from special car business. Whether it is special car services or carpooling services, a larger proportion of Uber vehicle drivers were private car drivers. Uber Guangzhou and Chengdu has been jointly investigated and punished by local law enforcement agencies. The promulgation of this rule greatly limits private car passengers and reduces the benefit of the sharing economy. This is the equivalent of setting a threshold on Uber's path.
So I chose India as my country. The reason why I selected India in case of Uber, because as stated by Dara Khosrowshahi, India is one of the healthiest markets in terms of growth rates, having over 300,000 active drivers, currently doing more than 10 million trips weekly. Uber believes that they're standing in the next 5 to 10 years, India will play a vital part. Also, Uber believes that in quest for the global domination, they'll have to conquer India first. Now in the case of India, state and municipal governments are focusing to regulate Uber and other mobile-based aggregating companies. A primary point of contention Uber and government regulators is their legal status and whether they should be treated as traditional taxi operating companies or as intermediary information technology companies. Uber contend that they do not own or lease any vehicles or employ any drivers, but rather see themselves as only providing a mobile platform for customers to connect with drivers. Most state and local jurisdictions in India are modifying existing taxi regulations or introducing new ones. In most cases, Uber has considered these rules to be onerous, outdated, and incompatible with its current business model. Also, Indian government is thinking of introducing its own ride-hailing app, which would mean increased competition for Uber in the Indian market.
I have chosen Australia. The reason I chose Australia for Uber is that it is really exciting that Uber announced Melbourne City of Australia as the first international city where it will test Uber Air. Melbourne will join Dallas and Los Angeles as pilot cities for the program. It is planning for commercial operations to commence from 2023. Therefore, in the future, Uber Air will make it possible for people to push a button and get a flight. As per Australian Government Department of Innovation and Science, Australian Capital Territory government became the first jurisdiction in Australia to incorporate ride-sharing into regulatory frameworks in 2015, followed by New South Wales. Today, every state and territory have established ride-sharing regulatory regimes. As part of the reforms, most jurisdictions also created assistance packages for owners of taxi licenses. As per the Corruption Perceptions Index of Transparency International, in terms of corruption, Australia scored 77 out of 100 since 2016 till 2019, where 100 is very clean and 0 is highly corrupt. Therefore, it is in favor of Uber to grow here.
For the economic factors, on the one hand, the globalized economy is now growing slowly, and the sharing economy is also developing. But on the other hand, in the context of complex global investment situation, many uncertain policies, and the prevalence of investment protectionism, even the rise of anti-globalization, many countries have been affected. However, China's attraction of foreign investment has continued to grow, proving that investors recognize the Chinese investment environment and the competitiveness of the Chinese market. The economic system of China is mixed and has been increasingly the investment and trade freedom. Especially from 2012 to 2015, China's overall import and export trade has increased by 1.3%. Also, China has been very active in Asian economic integration. Although there is still a certain gap between China's economic freedom and developed market economic countries, but its position in the world continues to climb. The scale of utilization of foreign capital has been continuously expanding as well. In 2018, China's foreign investment absorption reached more than 130 billion, ranking second in the world.
For economic factors in Germany, as pointed out by Emilio 2019, it has a mixed economy. This means that Uber has access to German free market, while it will also face the government regulations regarding protecting its related industry. Additionally, economic development status can be analyzed through the perspective of economic freedom in Germany. According to 2019 Index of Economic Freedom, German economic freedom is 73.5, which shows that overall score is above the regional and the world average. Therefore, owing to high economic freedom, Uber would consider investing FDI in Germany. Moreover, for the perspective of regional economic integration, Germany gets huge profit from the common currency because it is a main export nation in EU. Hence, in view of Germany's strong economic strength, Uber could consider investing in this huge market.
Now, in terms of economic growth in India, when Uber filed its first IPO prospectus, India was its fifth largest market in some terms of total miles covered. Uber has its lowest per mile costing at 21 cents in India, which leads to 18% decrease in its global average fare. But India is a low ticket size but high volume market. In the long term, India would be an important market for Uber. As mentioned earlier, barring current slump in the economic growth in the country, India has one of the highest growth rate, and it could be seen from the generated revenue of $9 billion by Uber cabs and $1.8 billion by Uber Eats. Unlike the US, drivers in India work full time. One problem that Uber has in India because of low income per capita, most drivers don't own cars in India. They must buy one or drive someone else's vehicle. Now, buying a car implies substantial capital investment. Uber have tied up with banks and auto companies to finance those looking to buy cars to join their platforms. This means that drivers don't get to keep the money they make. A significant chunk goes toward repaying loan. But on average, earnings are quite high and encouraging more drivers to join with Uber.
In terms of economic factors in Australia, as per the Nordia Trade Report, the Australian economy experienced 26 years of uninterrupted economic growth, and this was the country of the OECD that did not enter into recession during the financial crisis. OECD stands for Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. As per the Commonwealth Association, Australia has a high degree of prosperity based on its wealth of natural resources, policies of redistribution and welfare, and stable democratic society. Gross domestic product is sustainable here between 2% to 3%, which is great because as per many economists, an ideal GDP rate is greater than 2% and less than 4%. Australia has a healthy economy where unemployment and inflation are in balance, and that is favorable signal for Uber to grow in Australia.
Now, talking about FDI recommendation in global context. With Uber diversifying into more subsidiaries, and Uber have always believed in FDI should increase globally with introduction of new services such as Uber Eats or Uber Air. Also, the fact that helps them is that major investors like SoftBank are the shareholders, so they have huge money power at their disposal. With increased political stability in countries becoming more and more democratic in nature, economic freedom is on the rise, and Uber should take advantage and introduce new service accordingly. In case of India, Uber has a large market share now in its cab services and has sold Uber Eats to its local rival Zomato for 10% ownership in Zomato, valued at $300 million. Uber will, and as mentioned by Uber on many occasions, should increase their FDI because of increased market size in India every year and in terms of importance of Indian market. Uber has the policy of killing the local competition through financial power and should do the same to counter the increased market share of Ola, its local competitor in the region.
Overall, I would not suggest Uber to increase FDI in Germany. The main reason is that, under my evaluation, the political and the legal cost and the risk outweigh the economic benefits when it comes to Uber's FDI in Germany.
Uber once relied on a flat company structure to grow rapidly within 2 years, providing services in 60 cities in China. But as the company scales up, the disadvantages also become apparent. Foreign companies entering China have emphasized the importance of localization, which is also the reason why Uber failed in China. And in 2016, Uber China announced its strategic merger with Didi Chuxing. In the aspect of China, if Uber can come up with a better localization strategy, even if it's in front of a strong local brand like Didi, it can still get a share of increasing the foreign direct investment. Long-term benefits outweigh political and economic costs. After all, China's consumer demand is still steadily rising.
It is recommended for Uber to invest further in Australia as it is a country of immigrants and international students. Being an IT hub, Uber is very much in demand here. People prefer to share a ride to avoid traffic congestion. Launching Uber Pool is the reflection of that Uber has a core business of share a ride in Australia. By further foreign direct investment in Australia, Uber can kill the sudden growth of new competitors like Ola, Didi, and GoCatch. Uber can take advantage of its advanced technology as Uber's competitors will need to be innovative when tackling the industry giant Uber. As per the Australian market research company Roy Morgan, nearly 4.3 million Australians use Uber in an average 3 months. It is over 20% of population. As the gateway to Melbourne for tens of millions of travelers each year, it is fantastic potential for Uber Air in the future.
Overall, although Uber has been in controversy for its unethical practice in the past, it is still marching strong towards its conquest for global domination, and it is considered among the likes of Google and Amazon in terms of its global outreach.